Thank you for staying with us. And this morning, as I said earlier, we are looking at the spate of insecurity again. Now, one runs the risk of sounding like a broken record, especially when it's a reoccurring issue and you think we are making a headway as far as the security of Nigeria is concerned. But it seems we are not. And obviously, we are not. Things are not right. Now, from some of the dailies we looked at today, we saw reports of the US returning being killed and a wife abducted. In the middle of all that, there are still, killings almost at the northeast. The north central is a hotbed, especially Benue, in which in the less than 2 weeks, we've seen the killings of more than 80 people and, at different times. And this is what we are looking at today. The Benue State Governor, Yancy Italia, has come out to condemn the killings. Even yesterday or 2 days ago, he still did. And many persons are not even taking him seriously to say what is happening there. Now, this has happened before. On the plateau, there are killings in which, like 2 months ago, there are, series of coordinated killings and attacks that have been snuffing lives out of the people. And in the middle of that, when an attack happens, you see the security forces, the agencies, the politicians who come to that place and say, we're on top of the situation, we will secure your lives, you commiserate with the people. That was the same thing that greeted the visitation of Governor Muftwang when he went to those communities that had their people killed on the plateau. Now, the same thing is happening in Benue, and it's been happening for long. The recent is what happened a few days ago, in which in Gwa West local government, more than 40 people were killed by the people termed as armed raiders. Some call them killer herdsmen. What exactly is the problem? Who are they? And just yesterday, we got the report that the Chief of Army Staff, General Oluyede, is relocating to Benue. And these are some of the things that we'll look into today. Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede on Tuesday temporarily relocated Benue State to oversee military operations aimed at restoring security following incessant attacks that have left at least 270 people dead in Benue State in just 2 months, 270 people. In fact, these are official figures, by the way. Lieutenant General Oluyede arrived Benue on Tuesday morning with a delegation of principal staff officers and senior personnel from Army headquarters as part of an urgent intervention amid escalating violence across 10 local government areas. Reoccurring. Who are these people? To what end? How come? And we have heard reports in which these attacks happen not too far away from army formations or army checkpoints or army barracks and all of these things, and they still go ahead, do this thing for sometimes more than an hour or hours, and they go away with it, get away with it. They come back again, do these things, and, it seems they are unchecked. We have with us this morning, he's an academic, a professor, all right, and we told, we lost the connection, but once we have him, we'll continue with that because we can't continue to have this as a people. This is not Banana Republic. This is not the jungle. This is Nigeria, Federal Republic of Nigeria, a 64-year-old republic. This is what we are still doing. An independent nation, rather, independent country. And we can't hold our own. And these killings have been explained away. It's disturbing, really. Daniel.
Oh, absolutely. Well, quite unfortunate what's been happening in Benue State. And a lot of people have said the governor is not doing enough. Yesterday I asked that question, that does he really have the power to tackle the insecurity? Of course, he can create, vigilantes, empower them and all that, but there's a limit to what the governor can do.
Because he's speaking enough.
He doesn't command the security forces.
Obviously,
that's unfortunate. It doesn't. But let's see what this move what it means. The Chief of Army Staff, is going to be on ground right there. Of course, that will boost the morale of the officers. Of course, there'll be some strategic, changes and, implement some policies that might lead to military success right there. So let's see how that pans out.
It's a lot. Now, why some might say, oh, that's it. The criminals are in for a for a terrible time right now. But the thing is, does that mean when we have problem in another community, the chief of army staff will have to be there? He doesn't have officers that can coordinate these, these operations for him. Okay, what is happening? Plateau is obviously he's not down. So when something happens again in another place, the chief of army staff will have to go there. So why does he have these field commanders?
We just hope this is not political. That's just
why does he have field commanders?
We just hope it's not political.
Or is it just somebody up there that has told him, please go there, so that the people can at least stop talking about these issues and they will see that we are doing something about this. Now, while some, as I said earlier, might commend this particular move as well, but can it be sustained?
Absolutely.
How many places can the chief of army staff be?
It shows the effectiveness of the force. If the force is really effective,
coordination.
Exactly. If they are effective, then definitely you don't necessarily need the chief of army staff to be right there on ground. You can coordinate operations from anywhere. You go to other places, you have the chief coordinating multiple operations at the same time.
Different operations, different brigades, and all of those things. So we learned, our guest is here with us, and he's an academic and, of course, a security consultant and expert as well. Professor Oyesoji Aremu. Thank you for joining us, Prof. Good morning. If you can hear me, Prof, good morning. Okay, we get to work on the connections.
Absolutely.
All right. It's worth talking about because, just like I said, the politicians are busy now, making visits, alignment, support, all of those things. Please, leave this one for us, handle this one. Oh, we are going to do this alignment, especially at the national level, alignment of politicians, disgruntled politicians from different parties coming together. My enemy's enemy is becoming friends right now.
Absolutely.
And so towards one aim to dislodge another party in government. And these are people that were part of those parties as well. Some of them are not. It seems they are just busy.
Yeah,
for power grabbing.
And again, for me, the chief of army staff, we heard is relocating temporarily to Benue State.
Yeah.
But should we really applaud him? Yes, what I mean. A lot of people, a lot of Nigerians will say there is so much hypocrisy in all this. Why has it taken so long for Benue State to be taken seriously?
Yeah. Prof, can you hear me now? Professor Aremu, if you can hear me.
Okay, I think we're having slight audio challenges. Right now.
And these are conversations that we must have. We take a quick break. When we return, the program will continue, and you have to be part of it. When we talk about security, it's everyone's business. Stay with us. All right. Thank you for staying with us. We are talking about the security in Benue State, security situation, and we're trying to look into that. Now that we heard that the Chief of Army Staff has relocated to Benue with his principal staff officers, to battle the onslaught of these killers there. We are being told we have our guest with us right now, albeit via voice call, Professor Oyesoji Aremu. Thank you for joining us, Prof.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Thank you very much, sir. And, quick one. The Chief of Army Staff has relocated to Benue State, amidst the killings, which is becoming almost a daily occurrence there, and has left many dead, several others injured and maimed, and several others burnt, leaving many homeless. The latest is that happened in Goa West local government, and many persons appear helpless and confused, really, because these criminals, they will come, ransack the communities, kill, they go. After a week, they come back. Sometimes after a month, they come back. Who are they? Maybe we should start by unraveling. You are the expert here, and I'm sure, perhaps you have more information than we'll do for public enlightenment, for, solutions. Who are these people? Who do you think they are? What do they want?
Thank you so much. Two questions quickly from you. First, who are they? Two, what do I think they want? I think it is a bit difficult to really say who are they. But we can probably have some profiling around these people. One, they can be a mixture of foreigners and Nigerians. So that's the basic. Why did I say a mixture of foreigners and Nigerians? A foreigner cannot come into a place and know the nook and cranny of that place without the help of an insight. So definitely we want to say that these people that are probably carry out the mail in some parts of the country are definitely foreigners who mix with the locals, who also try to sabotage the efforts of the government, even the effort and security of their community. And we've been having some theories around these people long before now. I'm talking of probably the last 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago now. And I've been saying it, the question of terrorism that we used to have there is just one thing. You can prevent it from happening. But the moment it happens, you cannot stop it. But right now, we are not only having terrorism, we're having other issues relating to terrorism. Of course, it goes with it, banditry, kidnapping, guerrilla warfare, and all these things. So, straight to your question now, these people are both foreigners and locals. And when I say locals, locals, in locals and up locals. How do I mean by out locals? Out locals mean people outside domains where these things where the mayhems are happening. The in local from people within who give intelligence this time around that this is what you can do. And for this reason, we cannot also probably downplay the issue of some other people as well, that some people have been mentioning in the media. Then question about what do they want? See, if you look at the ideology of terrorism, terrorism has to do with just killing. You just kill, and prove a point to the government of the day that you can bring down the government. That is it. So this time around, and given what happens in Benue State, Plateau State, even down United States and Kaduna, like as I said, they want to prove some points. Number two, in some areas, is about land grabbing, community grabbing, wiping out some people and take up the community and hoist their flag and control the place. So that's one of the things they want. In other places, they want the minerals, resources in those areas. So these are issues we should be interrogating, and we'll be interrogating for years now. Thank you.
All right, Prof. Now that the Chief of Army Staff has relocated temporarily to Benue State at this time, Prof, do you think this move will lead to a short-term military success, or does it signal a shift in long-term military policy in any way?
Well, I read it. I was just saying that I have a mixed feeling about the relocation of Chief of Staff, defense staff to war zone in coast. I think well by moving there, but I won't say relocating, because as the chief of the staff, he gives orders, and he asks chief of staff, he also asks chief of naval staff, chief of air force, and of course even the if the defense staff should relocate, all these people also relocate. Because he office at this time that, and for that reason, I want to say that relocate only for a signal, and that is to tell those people from making trouble that look of the in that place.
Unfortunate.
So for that very reason, people have to think twice. People from making trouble have to think twice. Again, I think it's for strategic. I'm sure it's not going to be a
all right, Prof. If you can hear me, Prof. Prof, my question is, this move right now, will it just lead to, let's just say, a temporary success, a short-term military success? Or do you see it as any shift in long-term military policies going forward?
I don't see any short-term military success. Because if the professor moves to a place, just to a place, out of many places, it only means that this people in other places. And the question is, how many places go at the same time? Or will you ask whether the GOC or the also move, and the GOC to also move? I know they have every week.
I'm afraid the audio quality is so poor right now. I really hope we do reestablish better connection. Please do stay with us, Prof. Aremu. I really love the people to hear clearly what he's trying to say right there.
You know, I believe our producers and engineers are working on it, possibly to reconnect, because it's an essential conversation that we must have. The relocation of the Chief of Army Staff, and what message is the Army sending there? Is it to say, we have come to meet you guys, you are done for, you know, and we won't leave till the work is done. So another question is, if we are doing that in Benue, sometimes some of these criminals have, because this is pronounced already, that is a way they might run to other states. What happens to those states? What happens I remember there was a conversation about, I think Prof is back. Prof, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right,
please go ahead. I think the connection is quite better now. Prof, you were addressing the question. I'm talking about the move of the Chief of Army Staff to Benue State.
I was going to say that the movement was strategic, and it's very good, I must say. But what I'm saying is that given what happens in other places in Nigeria, we're only talking of a place in Benue State. There are other places in Benue State, other communities in Benue State. We have issues in Plateau State. We have issues in Kaduna, Niger, even Kwara State here, very close to us here. So, but I'm saying that it's very strategic. It will only send some signals that, look, the street of defense is now in this place. And of course, for the soldiers and personnel in the war front, we want to say, okay, they have to double up what they do. And of course, for the fact that the Chief of Defense Staff moves there, then it means other logistics will move with him. Other arms and ammunition will also move with him. In fact, there will be more of reconnaissance and intelligence there. So it is very good. But the answer to the question is, will it be a kind of temporary? I would say yes, temporary in that place, but not in other places. And in terms of the long-term effect of it, it only shows also that the Nigerian Army or the Armed Forces generally, let me put it that way, would have to do more, really making sure that the commanding officers will be there. I must commend them for what they are doing. Again, I was in Kaduna at one division last week for a program on post-traumatic stress disorders of military officers that have fought Boko Haram war and bandits. And we heard many things. And beyond this, I think basically what we are saying is that the Nigerian Army is doing much. And as he said, I think I heard it yesterday on the television, that they need the support of the community, of the people. Oh, that is very good. And that is exactly when we say that terrorism, banditry, the war of it cannot be won without the cooperation of people. In fact, security has to be domiciled among the people. People who have to hold the security for them to be able to combat this issue of terrorism, insurgency, and banditry that we have in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, Prof. But don't you think this initiative is coming a little too late? I mean, killings have gone on in Benue State, I mean, for several weeks, over and over again, and nothing was said for quite a long time. The SARS, they watched the people, the innocent citizens, Nigerian citizens being killed in Benue State. Don't you think this initiative is a little too late, to say the least?
Yeah, I can't agree with you. It's coming too late. Let me put it that way. Because this thing has been happening since, I mean, the resurgence of killing in Benue State didn't start 1 month, 2 months, 3 months ago. But right now, I'm doing a kind of a project in which I'm reporting this thing and giving what people are doing and giving the efforts, the counter-insurgency efforts of the Nigerian Army and the police. But as you said, I think this ought to have come up long before now, and not only on the part of the Chief of Defense Staff, even the other leaders of the of security in Nigeria. So I think when this happens, we should be able to do more, and of course curtail the banditry, the killing, and what happens. And beyond this, let me stress the point that as much as possible, we need more of intelligence, and people will have to provide the information for the personnel, I mean the security personnel, to be able to work.
Right. Now, the case in Benue now is the one that every well-meaning Nigerian is disturbed. And you don't have to be a Benue person, an indigenous of Benue State, for you to be disturbed, because you know, if it's happening up there, most likely, if caution is not taken, if the right things are not done, it might spread to your area in terrible proportions. And this is why we are talking about it. Now, the relocation of, General Luyede to Benue State with his principal staff officers and all of those things, what message is he sending? Number one, is it to tell the criminals that you are done for? Two, is it to let the people know that we are supporting you? That's why we are mobilizing a high-power delegation to see to this matter. But very importantly, Prof, is that question, that does that mean the commanding officers, commanding these operations in this state, Adarin Daji, Adarin Kai, some of those Operation Pythons and all of those things, especially the ones in Benue State, does that mean they can't rally support enough to handle those business, or they need the motivation of the big man before they can do their work? What does that say about army operations?
Oh, thank you so much about this. I must commend General Luyede for this, the Chief of Army Staff. You see, it's not that the commanding officer or theater officers who are in the war front are not doing much. They are doing well. Of course, it is at the behest of the Chief of Army Staff to change, to locate, to move people around, depending on the intelligence and what he wants to do, or how he wants to rejig what is happening there. Now, having said that, the movement of the Chief of Army Staff will only further send further signals that the big man, as you said, is here. So the commanding officer in the war front will do more. The officers, or the other officers, will also do more. The soldiers will also do more. And of course, as I said the other time, the movement of the Chief of Army Staff means that many things will move with him. Intelligence will move with him. Logistics will move with him. The more arms and ammunition will move with him. This is not to say they have not been sending this thing, but for the fact that the Chief of Army Staff is there it means more. It's like the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Army President is going to a place to see the whole place. But what I'm saying is this: movement to a place will not solve the problem we have in the country. There are other places as well, flashpoints as well. And these bandits, they know what they do. Once they hear that, they will probably slow down. And of course, okay, let's slow down. let's get intelligence from other places and move to other places. So I think what we need to do more is to have a kind of a simultaneous intervention.
Exactly my point, Prof. If I may come in here, that why, if I may, so sir, that why don't you have a coordinated attack? Because if the general is now in Benue State, how about, because we've learned sometimes they might move to Nasarawa, they might move to other states that are close by, and then they simmer down, or they, you know, continue their terrorist activities there. Now, if the general is in Benue, we have issues currently on the plateau. Will he be in plateau to coordinate? Will he go to Baban Garanzulum place to go and coordinate? These are the issues.
That is it. You see, the point I said, and I can't agree with you also, is that he can't move to all these places at the same time. Then, apart from that, his attention is also needed for other policy issues in Abuja. But what they were saying now is that the commanding officers in the war front, I think they should be given what they need to really prosecute this war. Then beyond that, as much as possible, they need the motivation as well. As I said, my team was somewhere last week in which we really have carried out a project. We hear so many things. And for this very reason, these people are laying down their lives for the country. But what they want is to do more. For them to do more, they need the motivation, a kind of a change in the policy, strategies, and so on for the Nigerian army, for them to be able to do this. The chief of army staff has done well. I think he cannot relocate his seat there. He can only go and visit Plateau State, visit Benue State, visit Nasarawa, visit Kaduna, and go on. And the kind of a war we are having in this country, beyond the kinetic.
All right, Prof.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and this will surely help. So he can't move about, he cannot be in a place. You know, I said that the location is not a permanent thing, although it's strategic to send some signals. That's what I want to say.
All right, Prof. In your opinion, what is it critical? How critical is the role of the state government and local communities in supporting this initiative? Let's look at the local communities, for instance. We know that most times indigenous residents in local communities actually know some of these perpetrators, but sometimes they are scared. They cannot speak up. My question is, what is the place of intelligence? They are saying they need the support of the communities. Fine, quite all right. But what is the role of intelligence? So regardless of the people supported them or not, due to various reasons, what's the role of intelligence right here? Where is the place of infiltration on the part of the military? I mean, they know all this. They know how to do all this. So what exactly, how critical is the role of the local communities and the state government in supporting this initiative?
Let me quickly respond to these three questions. The first one I want to respond to is the role of intelligence. What kind of a thing should intelligence do? In not this, either the state, either the community, the local, even the military, intelligence is key. Very, very important. And I know we have intelligence officers, because we have the unit coordinating this. So as much as possible, there should be a kind of a synergy between the military, the community, and the state government. At that time I listened to the state governor, and I empathize with the state governor. He's helpless. He's helpless. And that will take us back to what we've been saying in Nigeria. The issue of security in Nigeria is just like in one pot. When I say one pot, I talk about the issue of that everything is from top to bottom. And as long as it's top to bottom, it won't work. I think as much as possible, we should probably decentralize the issue of security in Nigeria. And what we mean by this is that as much as possible, we should have this coordination along security agencies, are all working towards the same purpose. You talked about the issue of the community. When the community or the locals feel secured, and they feel that when they provide intelligence, it will be responded to swiftly. They will provide intelligence. But when they provide intelligence and the response is going to be swift, they will not be willing to provide intelligence. They will feel that, let's keep quiet. Then the state government is also an issue here. The state government is not in control of security. When I say state government, I'm not only talking of Benue State, I'm talking of other states as well. Our governors are not in control. And as long as they are not in control, there's nothing they can do, because they have to have so many layers of reporting before it gets to the top. So I think as much as possible, we should be able to probably look into this and not make the issue of intelligence in Nigeria top-down approach. So it has to be a kind of a coordinated something that is simultaneous, that will be responded to as swift as possible, and that people themselves will have that trust in the security agencies for them to be able to provide information, for them to be able to say, this is what we do. Then we have the issue of also of our urban spaces, urban forests, where these bandits, these terrible people, criminals, are really in control. Yeah, I was in Kaduna last week. There are places we cannot go to. Of course, they will tell you cannot go to those places, and those places are being manned by some individuals. Animals are not only living there, human beings are also there. I mean, these terrible criminals are there. So that's what we are saying. So as much as possible, we should be able to decentralize the issue of security for us to be able to have a more coordinated and simultaneous responses.
All right, Prof. You said the governor. He said the governor is helpless, but some other security experts would disagree with you on that. Now, talking about the helplessness of the governor, right? He's not in control of the security forces in the state, but some other security experts will say there's a lot the governor of a state can do, that he can actually have vigilantes, he can, arm them and empower them to protect the communities. What do you have to say to that?
Thank you so much. I know we have in many states of the country, in fact, I would say particularly in all states of the country, we have the Amatekon, we have this and that, we have them in the north, all over, in the southeast, south. Our governors are doing that. Then we need another layer is the question of local vigilante. Yes, but we're talking about arms and ammunition, sophisticated ammunition. We've been told that these bandits and criminals are using drones. Our local security outfits, do they have drones? Even the drones they have, it's not even AK-47. So the governors, I said they are helping because Constitution has limited them. And for this very reason, for them to be able to move ahead from this logjam, what I call security logjam, and for them to be able to take decisions on their own without rushing to Abuja or calling the IGP or say this, then even when they call the commissioner of police, of course, he will ask, but they also talk about it. Let's also clear from the headquarters and so on and so forth. So we need the sub-national security agencies for us to be able, for them to be able to work, right, and that the government should be empowered using the constitution to really harm these people. If you go to Europe and other countries in America or South America, you see that the issue of security is not sectorized. It is organized, and people are really making use of intelligence. So this is what we're talking about. Of course, they are in control of their states, talking about the issue of security, the whole monthly security meeting, or sometimes it will be weekly. But beyond that, we're talking about really doing it. That is exactly what I meant.
Right. Now, there is a report this morning that in the past 3 months, more than 270 people have been killed in Benue State. And in some of these attacks, we've seen, security personnel visit some of these ransacked villages and promise them we're on top of the matter. The governor will visit, politically exposed persons will visit and tell them we promise you we're on top of the situation. Oh, perpetrators will not go without being punished. How come perpetrators are not being arrested? How come? Yes, we've had, averagely, the defense headquarters will say, oh, we have neutralized different terrorists, insurgents, and these criminals of our lands, but we are not seeing them be apprehended and prosecuted. 270 people, lives rather, these are the reported ones. Now that the chief of army staff has gone there, the thing is he won't live there. I'm not sure if he's going to spend a month there. I don't have his itinerary. We have not been seeing results, promises upon promises, and heads are not rolling. People are still keeping their appointment. Are we serious as a people, as a government?
Thank you so much. You see, we just have to get one thing, and that's the fact. If you ask me, and you yourself know, for many people that have been arrested, neutralized, and the one really caught in the thick of theater, war theater operation, and they are prosecuted. In fact, I use the word prosecuted in quotes. So I've never seen one per se, in other words, breakthrough prosecution. And the ones after the while they will say that they want them to be de-radicalized.
Exactly.
Then after the decolonization, they want to bring them back to the society, to the community. I've always said that this is wrong. You see, if you arrested 10 criminals, when I say criminals, bandits, terrorists, they go through the so-called de-radicalization. I use the word the so-called, which is not thorough. At the end of the day, you now inject them into the community and society. I can tell you 7 of them will go back. It's one of the reasons why the issue of Boko Haram terrorism, we have not really been getting out of it. We are it. Now, that is one. Number 2 is that we have said it before, not many years ago. There is coming up again from people, top politicians, that some people are pretty fat on the issue of insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria. For some, it's business. For some, it has to do with what to do to a kind of to have their living. So when we do all these things, then we now begin to say that how do we get out mayhem? As you said, it is very, very sad, very, very dehumanizing and heartache for you to see over 200 people buried in a day, killed. And I tell you, that is what was reported. There were many other cases that are not reported or underreported. So what happens in this situation? So I think we need to do more. People that are caught fighting Nigerian army, who are defending the territory of this country, lay down their lives, I think we should give them maximum punishment, not reintegrating them back to the society. Then this will serve some kind of a lesson for others. You don't spare criminals, criminals like this. When you spare them, they go back to it before the recidivity. So that is the issue we're talking about.
Prof, the other part of my question is this, possibly you missed it, is nobody is losing their job. The theater commanders have their job. The chief of army staff is there. All of the other, not just about the army, the Air Force, the Navy, all of these other components of the security architecture. These criminals will run havoc. They are supposed to protect the lives of the people. They are failing. Everybody is keeping their job, drawing salary, doing whatever they can, and nothing is happening. We are just moving on as a people. Is that the way it works?
I heard you. Let's go back to what happened during the Buhari administration, the Muhammad Buhari administration. Some service chiefs lost their jobs because of this thing we're talking about. But it was not as serious as this then. They lost their jobs. They brought in others. About a week after, 2 3 after, this people also struck again. Then, when Buhari left, people were saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will also change services. Of course, it's expected. He changed them. We have the new chief of army staff, now blessed memory, That's how we do it now. We also have others. It's not a question of that people to lose their job. That's not the question. Now, if you say people to lose their job, the next person who also would have been working with him, maybe as a GOC or something, then we don't say you should also lose his job. That is not the question. The question is, let's face the reality. What do we need to do? What did they require for them to be able to do all these things? There's the issue of intelligence, as we've been talking about, the issue of getting the community and locals to work with us, there's the issue of decentralizing the issue of security. That's what we should be talking about. I'm not out for them not to lose their job, no. Because if you will come back again after about a year or two that these people should lose their job, that's not the question.
All right, Prof. I hope you're still there with us. Hello, Prof. Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you.
All right. Well said. Now, let's look at the optics of the whole situation. The Chief of Army Staff has relocated temporarily to Benue State. Could this be interpreted as a mere political move, especially because Nigerians have, increasingly been criticizing the federal government of their lack of action in this area? So, could this be interpreted as just a political move? Otherwise, hold on, Prof. Otherwise, why is it coming this late? Why wait for public criticisms to get to this height, to get to this level before taking this action, if it's not political?
Thank you. It's late. We must say that. So it's late and it's not sweet. It's not sweet. So we must say that. I agree. It's very, very late. Late. And of course, let me say that without holding brief for the Chief of Army Staff, he must have received intelligence from the GOC overseeing that area. There are also the commander there also. But he ought to have moved. That is basic. But the second question, it is not political. Rather, it is strategic. Let me refer to the former Chief of Army Staff of blessed memory. There was a period he worked with soldiers in the war front. He stayed with them for some time. So this is not the first time we have that kind of a situation. So it's strategic. And of course, because it's strategic, it will further reinforce and motivate the soldiers and the officers there. And not only that, as we said the other time, it will also send signals. But what I'm saying is that as much as possible, the Chief of Staff and of course other service chiefs should not wait till things get so bad. In fact, it must not even happen. So we should be talking about proactive security before they act. So that's very much we should be discussing.
All right, Prof. You just mentioned, sorry to cut in, you just mentioned the former Chief of Army Staff of blessed memory. Up till now, investigations into the cause of his death has not been concluded. Nothing critical has been done in that regard. Don't you think there's a bigger picture here? There's something Nigerians don't know. We have top military officers who came out to say that this man was actually murdered because the situation surrounding his death remains questionable. That some people try to expose, these terrorists, these bandits, but there are powerful people in the government and, of course, in the private sector as well, supporting and funding these terrorists. So is there a bigger picture? Is there something else that we don't know as Nigerians that is going on right here? That's why I said, could this be just a political move at this time?
Yeah, as much as possible, let me say that, of course, terrorism is being funded. No doubt about that. That is obvious. That's a fact. And we have also sponsors for terrorism and banditry insurgency here and there in Nigeria. But talking about what happened to the former Chief of Army Staff, well, I'm not privy to the information. And as much as possible, something I'm not privy to, I don't want to say it, because it's also, I don't have any empirical background. As an academic, we use facts, we use empiricism to really process what we're talking about. So I don't have the facts. These are the level of conjectures. Of course, there must be investigation, which I think they have done. But again, the army hierarchy, of course, will have this. So once it's not in the public domain, I think we should not talk about it.
All right. Now, as a costume, two questions for me. The Chief of Defense Staff yesterday at a program organized by the Voice of Nigeria Security Summit with the theme Renewed Hope, Agenda, Citizens Engagement, and national security in Abuja. That's General Musa, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa. He advocated for fencing borders to curtail movement to terrorist and other transborder crimes. The borders should be fenced so as to minimize, the coming in and the going out of these criminals. That's my first question for me. My first question, some persons are laughing it off to say, yeah, you are the general here, but this is 2025. You are still talking about border fencing. What's your reaction to that before I ask my second question?
Few weeks ago with some friends when we are also talking about the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, somebody asked me the same question. Hey, Prof, do you think that if every successive government administration in Nigeria will probably have a kind of a projected allocation to fencing Nigerian border, do I think that will have a kind of a respite on the issue of insecurity? You mentioned what happens in Israel, and even in the U.S., when the president during his first term, Trump, tried to fence some people so they cannot access America. So, and I said, look, it's just one of the things. What we need to do is take care of our borders. Then again, our porous border. There are so many porous borders in Nigeria that it won't be easy for us if we want to say we want to fence. Fencing what? The territory, the land territory. You know how expansive it is. They are told the person that while it can work in some parts of the country, it cannot work in other parts of the country. For example, in the far north, they have this relationship, affinity, cultural relationship, even political relationship with people in the Niger Republic, in Chad Republic, and what they call it, Burkina Faso. So, and also you want to fence your brothers out of the country. Yes, they don't belong to the same country. But whether we like it or not, they have cultural affinity, cultural relationship.
All right.
So for this very reason, you can't be talking of fencing there. Yeah. When you come to Badagry here, you can talk of fencing.
So if it works in one region of the country, it might not work at the other one.
Yes, it don't work.
My second question, Prof, because of time,
what we're doing is taking care of our borders.
All right. So is the if you can do that for me in 30 seconds, at that same forum, it was reported that the Chief of Army Staff said, and when he was talking about what the citizens can do, everybody in this battle against these terrible criminals and the fight against insecurity, he said the media, that's our aim, should underreport the terrorist activities, and we should instead report more about the gallantry, about the efforts of the Nigerian military in fighting, what they have done, the success, instead of reporting the activities of the terrorists. Now, how do we connect such? Are you saying we should not talk about it or we should ignore it? What's your take on that?
Thank you so much. It's like asking that the ongoing interventions I'm having with you will not be yet. Reporting it, talking about it, will give people, Nigerians, and the people outside Nigeria, information about their movement, what they need to do and what they don't need to do. So I don't agree with him that the media should underreport. Yes, they should report, at the same time showcase our forces, what they are doing in the war front.
Right.
But this will come from the army. They should give us information. When they give us information, give us statistics. In other places, this is what they do.
All right, Prof. We are pressed for time now. We are short on time. But just before we go, just to set the record straight concerning the case of the former Chief of Army Staff, General Tahiru, a particular military officer, General Officer Commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army, General Danjuma Ali Kefi, he actually made some revelations in public domain. I'm actually looking at one of the reports right now, how some top military officers were trying to uncover terrorists and their financiers, their sources of funds in Nigeria, and how some of them were removed from office. how the former Chief of Army Staff was working assiduously to make sure it flushes them out. So we actually have those reports. Unfortunately, we may not be able to go into them today, but rest assured, Prof, that these reports are actually in public domain.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know, but I also look for that report anyway. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. And that will be the size of the program this morning. We've been speaking with Professor Oyesoji Aremu, a security analyst and, of course, a public affairs commentator. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us on the program this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Emeka Daniel is my name. Don't forget, you can always check out this conversation on our social media handles and on YouTube. On Western Spring Television. Emeka Daniel is my name. Do have a wonderful day. Good morning.
And of course, I am Femi, a proud Nigerian. May Nigeria work in our time and beyond us. God bless Nigeria. Thank you, everyone that has been part of this show. We make a return tomorrow. Take care. Bye.